Good morning, welcome to today's video. It is a wet and wild Friday morning here in Scotland. Today, Isla Short is coming around to answer some of your nutrition questions. I'm going to go for a mountain bike ride. But first, I'm going to get in some breakfast. While I make my breakfast, I'm also going to make some vegan banana muffins for Isla, because she deserves it. Oh yeah, like, I feel like... Alright, go! Yeah, boy. Yeah! How's that? There's a guy behind us, probably looking at us being like, just get on with it. Yeah. Well, no, we can like...
You know you have mud on your face. Like quite a lot of mud.
That would have been the perfect opportunity to leave it to me and just like...
It would have been a good starting point. Yeah.
But clean face, right? So, we've been for a ride this morning. I took Isla around my local trails, which was pretty fun. It was very windy, so we kind of got blown around when we sent some air. So, we're going to talk about our diet. The main thing about this is that it's all about being the best human you can be. We have made our own choices, and if we can get anything across, it's that making your own choices and being responsible for the choices you make is the most important thing. So
yeah, and we kind of want to like avoid using labels like vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, because well, like Cami follows a vegan diet, but most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I kind of do a mixture based on where I'm at, as in if I'm away at races or I'm at home. I don't eat any meat. If you don't count fish as meat, I eat fish when I'm at home. But yeah, so we kind of want to avoid those terms because this is about making positive choices for whatever reason you want to. Yeah, it's not about making everyone be vegan.
Yeah, so we just want to share our experiences and what kind of how we find things, the things we might find hard, the things that are surprisingly easy about the choices we've made. So how long have you been veggie?
So
if you want to call it veggie, how long have you been deciding to change your diet to be a better human?
Yeah, to make things simple, we're gonna have to use the labels a little bit. So I have been, I stopped eating meat in 2015, so nearly 4 years ago. And I then was pescatarian, so was eating fish for, a lot of people don't really know what that term means actually. Yeah. That's why I just tell people I'm veggie.
Yeah.
So I was eating fish up until like quite recently everywhere, and now I've decided going forward just to eat fish at home because I get my fish from my local fishmongers and I know where it comes from. So yeah, that's kind of me. You?
I have been, oh god, I actually can't remember now when I went veggie. I feel like
it was like just after me.
I was a first year youth, so I was 15.
So 3 years.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So I went veggie, so I didn't eat any meat. And then kind of over the last few years, I've slowly been cutting out dairy products here and there, just as I've kind of broadened my own understanding of like how dairy works and what it does to you and what it does to the planet. So I've slowly been like not trialing, but like just cutting out little bits as I've just kind of gone along. So whether that's like a certain type of cheese or swapping out my milks. So that's how I got to the point where I am now, which is I have a totally vegan diet to a point where I'm happy with. So there's some situations where it's just, for where I want to be, it's kind of impossible to be totally have a total vegan diet, like when you're abroad and physically things aren't vegan, and to a point you can always prepare for things, but
I think like the thing that makes it hard is that it's actually really easy to be a vegan. It's really easy to cut out meat and cut out dairy products, but when we're trying to perform at a high level as well, it's a compromise, because we need to be getting a nutritionally dense diet, and we need to be getting everything we need. So, and that is quite challenging when we're traveling all the time. So this is kind of why we want to make this video, to make it a bit easier.
Yeah.
And so you guys can kind of see how we manage.
Mm-hmm.
First question. What is the first question?
What do you want to do next? So what made you decide? Was it like a definitive thing where it's just like one day you were eating everything and one day you weren't? Like what made you change?
I think like my whole life I kind of wanted to be veggie, but I think it came from a place where like I just wanted to be different.
Yeah.
I didn't really know, like it wasn't like a valid reason.
Yeah.
But then because I'm female, I have red hair, I like had a lot of potentials to have like low iron levels and stuff, so people were always like, no, you can't be veggie. And then
So prove them wrong.
Basically, it's like the story of my life. So then like my boyfriend was vegetarian, and then I started eating a lot of veggie meals, and they were quite good. And then I was like, actually, this is like, I could probably do this. So then I just decided to give it a shot and see if it would work.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it straight away.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a case of like cutting out meat. Like it took me quite a long time, and I'm still learning right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's actually one of my friends was vegan at school, and I saw her go through the roller coaster of working out how to be vegan, basically. So basically she was a really crap vegan for a while, and then she was a really good vegan, and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool, like seeing what she was doing. So
we should probably define what a crap vegan is. And what
a crap vegan is basically like, no matter what your diet is, you can do it really badly. Like, regardless, like you can do things really good, really badly, regardless of what label you put yourself under. So a crap vegan would just be like junk food and not really thinking about what you're eating, like not really like thinking about the nutritional value in your meals and stuff like that. By no means are we saying that if you are vegan, you are amazing. There's a big spectrum of how good a vegan you are, or how good a vegetarian you are. Because at school I used to have like chicken baguette every day, no questions, and then it took me a while of like working up to it mentally, and then I did just decide, right, I'm not going to do it anymore. Chicken was the only meat I was still having, and then so I stopped eating meat, and my school lunches got way better. I had flatbreads, spinach, and hummus. Which just like, why wouldn't you want to? That's how I like initially went through it, and it was way better because it made me bring my own lunch. I wasn't buying lunch from the school canteen, which was a bit rubbish anyway, so like, why not also make it veggie? So that's kind of where I was from. So.
Sweet. Well, we wanted to talk about a bit about how we transitioned, because like from like experiences of like, because I like shared a flat with people who were like experimenting with this and stuff, and like I feel like there's quite a lot of instances where you can't follow through with like becoming vegan or making a big decision like cutting out meat, because people do it like really drastically all of a sudden, and like especially for people who like people who are doing sports at our level, it's like if you just decide to cut meat out your diet, you are going to be low in vitamins and nutrients, because you're getting them from meat, and then you have to find other places to get them if you're not eating meat. So your diet does kind of change quite a lot.
Yeah.
and you can't do that overnight, because you have to like learn new recipes, and you have to it takes time and effort.
Your lifestyle has to adapt to the decision you made, so it all kind of has to click together.
Yeah, and you need to know for all your meals, you need to still make sure you're getting all the stuff you need. So it's like, it took me probably like 6 months from when I made the decision that I wanted to become veggie to actually being a vegetarian.
Oh yeah, like it's the time before making the decision that's the important bit, because you're just mentally going through the motions of like when you're seeing things in the supermarket and you're like, oh well, if I want to make those changes, those are the things I would limit myself.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the more it becomes natural, and the less you think about it. Because, I mean, now I don't think about any of the decisions I make. They're all just wired into me. I just
it's
do
like
it
like
because it's
3 or 4 years ago. Like, I wouldn't have gone to a supermarket and like filled my trolley with like tins of like chickpeas and packets of lentils and stuff like that. But like now it's like I don't even have to think about that. But we were like thinking like that's why. So like neither of us are really a big fan of like meat substitutes like long term. But I think like especially in the transition phase they're really good, because like if you want to make like your normal meals like spag bol or chili or sausage and mash or whatever, you've got all those options to do veggie versions.
Yeah, because they are really good. They taste good. Yeah, they're great. They fill a hole. Like I crave sausages a lot of the time just because they're really tasty and they're quite easy. I know, and they are amazing for that, because it's quite easy in my head anyway. When I was going veggie, I was like, right, this is what I used to have, and there's a substitute that I can just swap straight in.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, they are amazing. But as you're saying, like long term, that you want like ideally you want to be thinking about getting more whole foods. In general.
There's not that much nutritional value in a pack of Corn Mints.
No.
So yeah, it's like you don't want to be eating that stuff all the time. Like I still eat it sometimes. Like if I can't be bothered cooking, then I'll just like shove some tomatoes and some corn.
Like Linda McCartney sausage rolls. Like oh my goodness!
Good.
Like why wouldn't you want to be vegan if they're totally vegan? Why just like they're so nice?
Yeah, but that's like an example of like you ate that stuff all the time. You would be a bad vegan.
It's not healthy at all, but like it's just really tasty.
Yeah. So like that, I think like I definitely went through a phase of like eating a lot of that stuff.
No. Oh yeah, because especially
it allows you the time while you're still making that positive choice. It allows you the time to actually develop like your knowledge and your recipes and your understanding of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you think your diet is more or less nutritionally dense without meat or dairy? So this is the next question. So
cool. So I definitely think like since becoming veggie, I'm a healthier person. But whether this is to do with actually cutting out meat or so basically being veggie has made my diet a lot more nutritionally dense. But that might be because I'm eating a lot more vegetables, because like generally veggie meals they're kind of made of vegetables, most of them, like even like beans and like grains and stuff. So like yes, definitely my diet is more nutritionally dense, and I'm eating a lot of fruit and veg because I'll snack on fruit and veg, and like I'll always just have like salads and stuff, whereas I never used to have that. But yeah, I'm not sure whether it's. I think it is healthier because I don't eat meat, but I don't know the science behind that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. What would you say?
Nutritionally dense. Things like whole foods are generally less dense in everything. So like a huge bag of spinach versus like a really lean steak. The steak is way more dense. Like you don't have to eat as much of that to get what you would get from a bag of spinach. So you have to eat more volume to get the same amount of nutrients. But there's no reason why you can't get all the nutrients you need from a vegan veggie diet.
Yeah, I also think like because I'm veggie, I eat a much wider variety of fruit and veg than I did.
Well, like, you don't just look at the standard veg. You think about like what else can I eat? Because if you're having to buy more of them, then you get more variety. Yeah, and variety is one of the most important things in any diet.
Yeah. Because color
and
make
variety.
Sure there's a rainbow on your plate.
Because it doesn't matter what diet you are, if you're eating the same thing every day, Because you physically won't be able to get all the things you need from it.
Yeah,
you need to have the variety.
Like when you eat meat, a lot of your meals are like meat, carb, vegetable. Whereas like when you're like following a veggie diet, it's kind of all one. So like I eat a lot of curries, chilies, pasta dishes, that kind of thing. And like it's really hard to eat like meals where there's like mashed potato. Like where's your protein? Unless you have fish. Like I feel like especially vegan, I don't really eat meals like that where there's like 3 different things anymore. They're all just like one pot dishes with like a shit ton of veg. So yeah, that kind of answers that question. Yeah, basically.
This is a good question. Do you take supplements? So first, do you think you need to take supplements?
Okay, so I love this question. It's my favourite question. Basically, somebody asked, which I think was a really good question, was it was one, like, do you take supplements? But somebody asked, should you get your blood levels checked first? And I think that's really important. Because basically, the 2 main things that people who are veggie or vegan have the potential to be low in is iron and B12, B12 especially for vegan. But do you want to talk about B12? I'll talk about iron.
Okay, I'll talk about, I'll start with B12.
Okay.
So B12, I'm not sure on the science of it, but it's basically a nutrient that's, the reason that animals have it is because it's in the grass and the dirt that they eat, so it goes into their bodies, and then you can consume it through the meat. So it is hard to get B12 in whole foods. You'd have to be eating like a ton of like everything if you wanted to get enough. But yeah, Marmite has it, and other supplements. So there's this supplement here. It's not really a supplement. It's basically just like a thing that also has B12 in it. So it's vegan. I don't know how to read that word. It's like yeast flakes. So it's like cheesy, tangy.
It smells like cheese.
Cheesy, really tangy flakes. So that it's like useful in those things. So you can make like a vegan mac and cheese with it, or you can add it to pasta. And if you like, even if you sprinkle 5-10 grams over your pasta, that's your whole daily allowance of B12 that you get just from this. So yeah, this is one way you can get B12 into your diet. You can take supplements. But yeah, this is good.
But diet, getting it through your food.
Getting it through food is ideal.
It's always better.
The thing with B12 is it's hard to get through whole foods, so things like this are really useful. And it's weighing up like convenience versus like ideally we'd live in the rainforest and we'd have a supermarket next door that had every fruit and veg in the world, and we'd eat just those things. But we don't. We live miles away from all the nice fruit and veg, so you've kind of got to weigh it up there. So yeah. You want to talk about iron?
Yeah.
Isla's famous for her iron levels. I'm not. I'm famous for my iron levels in a different way. I have really low iron, and
this is why he's not allowed to talk about this.
I'm not talking about iron. Well, I can talk about my bad experience with iron. So I just need to like constantly work on my iron. But Isla's an iron queen.
Anyway, so basically, I know a lot about iron because it was like I had it drilled into me that I couldn't be veggie because I would get low iron. So when I switched to veggie, so I get my bloods done like 3 or 4 times a year, and I always get my iron levels back, my ferritin levels, which are like your iron stores in your body, and basically they were like pretty good when I was eating meat, like just kind of standard, and then when I switched to veggie, they dropped quite a lot, but then they started to come back up again, and I found out, speaking to a nutritionist, that that's actually really normal because your diet changes so drastically. Like your
body needs to catch up.
Exactly. Yeah, you're playing catch up basically. And I managed to get my iron levels now. They're like way higher than they were when I ate meat. And like I like this topic because it's such a misconception. Like you don't have low iron because you're vegetarian. You have low iron because you're not getting enough iron in your diet. And there's so many ways you can get iron. Like I know a lot of athletes who eat meat and they're on iron supplements because like they
find
just,
it hard,
or like people assume, oh well, I eat steak, I must be getting enough iron, and it's like it doesn't really work like that. So basically, there's like loads of ways you can get iron, and like I think like the two main things that are important to know if you're like concerned is like vitamin C helps the absorption.
Yeah.
So if you're eating something that's high in iron, then have a satsuma with it or something like that. So my example is like one of my go-to snacks if I'm like on the move is like a bag of nuts and satsuma, because that's kind of perfect. And then the other thing is that calcium and caffeine inhibit absorption. So if you're having something that's high in iron but you're like having a coffee with it, or nuts and yogurt potentially, but then if you're having vitamin C as well, you're countering that inhibition. So basically, like, I try and aim to get about 5 milligrams of iron in my diet each day. I don't take any tablets because I was like really adamant that I was going to get it all through food, and that's taken me quite a long time. I've only recently stopped taking Spatone. Do you know what Spatone is? So basically you can get it in the supermarket and it's like iron rich water. It's just like in the medicine aisle. And I used to take like 1 sachet a day, 2 sachets a day actually. Then I cut down to 1 sachet a day. And now for like 3 or 4 months I've not been taking any. Because it was always my plan to cut it out. But I think the challenge with us is always like, is our racing more important than like the nutritional value? Like my beliefs in like supplements and stuff, my racing's just as important as that. So so just like some of my like tips for getting iron in your diet is that Vit C helps it. Calcium, caffeine hinders it. And so I always have, every morning I have porridge, and I always have like something like this. So this is just like basically like ground nuts, seeds, that kind of thing. You can get like loads of different types and loads of different makes, just like in loads of supermarkets. And I just like sprinkle them on, and then I'll have like some raspberries to help with the absorption of that, and dried fruits and nuts, and a lot of legumes are high in iron. Spinach, kale.
Nice dark green veg, basically. Nice.
Exactly. And then like always with every meal I have a slice of lemon in my water just for vitamin C. So I'm trying to think to be honest, like I don't really, it's not a conscious thing anymore. I used to have to think a lot about it every day and be like, I'm getting iron in this meal, I'm getting this, but now I do, because my diet's now, it's like an automatic thing now. So hopefully that answers all the questions about that. And also, but I know a lot of people asked about iron, so
also this stuff is like really cheap and you can get it from like Aldi and everywhere. So this is just milled linseed with goji berries, sunflower and pumpkin seeds. And all the seeds and stuff, just experiment with them. So like sunflower seeds, nuts, pecans, everything, just experiment with them and find what you like, because don't have like every type of seed in the world, but just like experiment with them, and because they've all got I mean they're all way more nutrient dense than just plain oats. So.
And like once you know, like, because like nuts and seeds can be quite expensive, so like once you kind of know what you like and stuff, like this will, like I buy one of these like every 4 months maybe. Like
you don't need much.
You don't. You just need like a sprinkle.
It may seem like a lot when you're getting it. Like it's like a few quid or something, but
it's worth it. It's worth it.
It's worth it. Cool. Next thing, do you use protein shakes, and are they necessary? I'll let you start.
Okay.
Well, are they necessary?
No, absolutely not. Depending on where you are. So basically, my kind of belief with protein shakes is that they're really good for when you're away at a race or away training and you don't have access to real food or a proper meal in the next 20 minutes, half an hour. So like I would always, so like I have like protein powders in my cupboard at home, but I only use them for when I'm abroad racing or away training or wherever. I think why we have protein shakes because when we come back from training to help our recovery, we want some protein and some carbs. But like most of the time I arrive home and I have a fridge full of food. So like, and it's really easy to whip up something quickly that has 15-20 grams of protein in it, some carbohydrates, and it's real food. And it's not like all the other shit that these protein shakes have in it. So and the other thing is, like you can't absorb, I think it's 20 grams, you can't absorb more than 20 grams of protein in more than one go. So it's like, if you're having a protein shake and then you go and eat your lunch, it's like you're having like way more than you actually need at that point of time. So yeah, I think they have their use, but I think to rely on them is not the best, because they're like really quite sugary, and like I don't see why you wouldn't just eat real food. I don't know, what do you think?
No, that I totally agree. And always in all of this stuff, try and like prioritize real food, whether that's like relying on gels in training, or where you can get whole foods at shops or anywhere, try and go for them, because they're less processed and they're just more full of nutrients. I do use a recovery shake when I feel like I need a bit more, because sometimes, like, because I don't have eggs in my diet, and eggs are a really good source of protein, I find I sometimes need more. So the protein powder I use is Raw Sport, shameless plug. It's a vegan protein, and the main thing is that it's a complete protein. So you can explain what complete proteins are.
So basically,
it says on the packet, but I'll let Isla explain it properly.
Basically, there are, some places say there's 21 amino acids. I've learnt there's 20, so up for debate.
Up to you.
But there's 20 amino acids. 9 of them are essential for our bodies to function properly. And basically, like, there's quite a lot of foods that, particularly plant-based foods, that don't have all 9 of the essential amino acids. So I should have touched on this actually with the... Actually, no, this is a good time to touch on it. So basically, if you're eating meat, then a slab of meat is going to give you all the amino acids that you need, all the essential amino acids. So that's kind of simple. You don't have to think about that. Whereas if you're following a plant-based diet, a lot of foods you eat, they all have almost all of them, but not all of them. So it can be quite easy to become deficient in like 1 or 2 of the essential amino acids if you don't know your stuff. So one of the things which has like made a huge difference, and has actually made my diet way more like interesting, is so grains like pasta, rice, bread, blah blah blah, they're low in one specific essential amino acid, but I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but the one that they're low in, legumes like beans and chickpeas and that kind of thing, they're high in that, and they're low in a different one. So if you combine those things together, basically you have complete protein. So my example of that in like a meal would be like, when I make curry, I cook rice and lentils as like my carb kind of side, because that's giving me a complete protein. And your paella? My
paella
got, like, chickpeas
is like paella rice with chickpeas and green lentils. So just mixing this like variety, combining foods to just boost it all. So, Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, then very well done. We really appreciate it. These videos are quite long, so if you're watching all the way to now, then thank you very much. Tomorrow's video will be part 2, where we talk in depth about more subjects to do with veggie and veganism. So stay tuned for that.